Alright, Channel 49 CFR Part 236 700 definitions, subpart G definitions. 236.700. For the purpose of these rules, standard for the instruction of the following definitions will apply. 236.701. Application for the brake full surface. Application for the brake result with the continuous spill and reduction of the brake pipe pressure. Surface of the brake until maximum brake cylinder pressure for the development as applied with the automatic electro-pneumatic brake with the speed governor control. Appliance other than emergency to develop the maximum brake cylinder for the pressure for the determinant of the design of the brake equipment, the speed at which the train is operating. 702. The arm of the Stephmore. The part of the arm of the single displaying the aspect that consists of the blade fastened spectacle and aspect. The appearance of the roadway signal conveying with the indication for the view of the direction of the approaching of the train and appearance of the cab signal for the conveying the indication of the view as an observing of the cab. 236.704 of the reserve. 236.705 bar locking. A bar interlocking the machine to which the locking dogs are attached. 236.706 bed locking. The part of the interlocking machine that contains the whole of the tappets, locking bars, cross locking the dogs, and other apparatus for the use of the interlocking levers. 236.707 blade and Stephmore. The ascending part of the Stephmore arms that shows the position for the arm. 236.708 block. A length of the block that defines the limits of use for the train for the governor of the block signal, cab signal, both. 236.7 block absolute. The block in which no train with the permitted to either enter without occupied a train. The 237.710 block latch. A low extremity of the latch rod with the gate with the square shoulder with the segment of the quadrant to hold the lever in position. 236.711 bond rail joint. Metallic connection attached with the joining the rails to ensure the electrical conductivity. The 236.712 the brake pipe. A pipe running from the engine man brake valve through the train for the use of the transmission air under the pressure to charge the actual automatic brake equipment, charge for the reserve and the electrical magnetic brake equipment on each vehicle of the train. Statute 236.713 bridge movable. The section of the structure bridging of the navigable waterway that is so designed that it may be displayed to permit passage of the traffic on the waterway. 236.714 the cab. The compartment of the locomotive for which the prevailing power of the power brakes for the train are manually operated. The 236 through 715 through 716 reserved. 236.717 characteristics operating. The measure of the electrical value of the electrical electronic apparatus operated with the drop away pickup of the maximum minimum current working value. 236.718 chart dog. The diagrammatic representation of the mechanical locking and interlocking machine used in working the plan making and assembling of the fitting of the locking. 236.719 circuit acknowledgement. A circuit consisting of the wire other than the conducting material insulated with the track rails at each signal with the territory which the automatic train stop of the system, cab signal system over the continuous inductive type of the two indicating cab signals within service for the enforced acknowledgement of the engine man after each of the signals displaying its aspect requirements of the stop. Circuit common return. A term applied with the one wire you have the return more than one electrical circuit. 21. Circuit control. Electrical circuit between the source of the electrical and engineering device that is operated. Circuit cut in. A roadway circuit with the entrance of the automatic train stop of the train control cab signal territory between the mains of which the locomotive equipment of the continuous inductive type of the exhaust associated with the operative condition. Circuit double wire lining. Electrical circuit not employing the common return wire with the circuit formed with the individual wires through it. Circuit shunt following. The track circuit with the following section of the turnout connected into the multiple of the track circuit with the main track. 236.725. The circuit with shunting. With the shunting circuit with the which is closed but through the contact of the switch circuit controller. 726. Circuit of track. Circuit track. Electrical circuits on which the rails are tracked from a form part. Circuit track code. The track circuit in which the energy is varied and interrupted periodically. 236.728. Circuit trap. The term applied with the circuit even where it's desirable to provide the track circuit with where it's impractical to maintain the track circuit. The cock, double hitting. A manual operated valve means with which the control brake operation is transferred to the leading locomotive of the coil receiver. The concentric layers of the insulated wire wound around the core of the receiver of the automatic train stop of the train controller with the cab signal device for the locomotive. 236.731 control circuit. Controller circuit. The device operating with the closing electrical sign circle. The controller circuit. The switch device opening and closing electrical switches circuits of which the road connected to the switch derail and the movable frog. Current form, a term applied with the state of the electricity current when they affect the signal system with they are not a part of the system. 236.734 current on the traffic. Movement of the trains and specified traffic that designate current direction. 735 current leakage. The straight leak electric current with a relatively small value with a flow through and across the surface of the insulation when voltage is impressed across the insulation. 736 cut section. Location other than single location where the adjoining track circuit will end with the block. The code section relayed. Code section where the energy with the one track circuit is supplied through the front contact through the front and polar contact of the track relay with the adjoining track circuit. The detector point. A circuit controller with a part of the switch operating mechanism operated with the rod connector to a switch, derail, or movable point frog that indicate with the points in which the specified distance of stock rail. Device acknowledgement. Manually operated electrical switch pneumatic valve with the means with which the locomotive is equipped with the automatic train stop of the train control device. Automatic brake application can be forestalled by means with which the locomotive is equipped with the automatic cab signal device with the sound cab's indicator can be silenced. 740 device reset. Device whereby the brakes may be released from the automatic train control brake application. Distance to stop and the maximum distance of the portion of the railroad for any train with operating such a portion of the railroad. Maximum authorized speed with the brake travel and the full service application for the brakes between the point where such application is initiated for the point where this train comes to a stop. 742 dog locking. A steel block attached for the locking of the bappet to bar or tap of the interlock of the machine with the means of the locking between the levers and accomplished. 743 dog swinging. Locking dog mounted in such a manner with the free rotate on the trunnion which is riveted to the locking bar. 744 laminate roadway. Portion of the roadway operated for the automatic train stop of the train control cab signal system such as the electrical circuit of the conductor of the trip arm to which the locomotive apparatus for the subsystem is directly responsive. 745 face locking. Locking surface of the locking dog with the tap of the cross locking with the interlocking machine. 746 feature restoring. Arrangement of the electro-pneumatic switch is the means of the power applied with the restore of the switch movement in the full reserve position before driving the bar creeping sufficiently to unlock the switch with the control left with the normal position reserve position. 747 forestall. To apply with the automatic train stop with the train control device to prevent automatic brake application with the operation of automatic knowledge device and manual control devices of the speed train. It reserved 749 indication. The perform information conveyed as an aspect of the signal. 750 interlocking automatic. Arrangement of the signal without signal applying for the without other signal appliances with functions there is to exercise inherent power with the distinguish for those functions controlled manually with those interconnected means with the electrical circuit through the means of what must be succeeded. Each of the proper sequence of the train movement to all the routes governed by the signal indication. 751 interlocking manual. Arrangement of the signals and appliance for the operated with the interlocking machine with the interconnected means for the mechanical or electrical locking in a movement that must be succeeded within the proper sequence. Train movements to all of the routes being governed in the signal indication. 3752 joint railed insulated. Joint which electrical insulation provided with the rail between adjoining rails. Limited interlocking. Track between 753 limits interlocking. Tracks between opposing home signals interlocking. 754 line opening wire. Overhead wire consisting of the single conductors as opposed to multiple conductor cables. Link rocker, a portion of the interlocking machine that transmits motion between the latch and the honor of universal links. 756 lock bolt. Mechanical lock arranged with a switch derail with a movable point but not proper the position with the train movement. The signal governed with the movement cannot display with an aspect of the proceed. This will prevent the movement of the switch derail with the movement of the point of the frog unless the signal display with the most restrictive aspect lock electric. Device to prevent the restrictive movement of the lever switch with the movable of the bridge unless with the locking of the move withdrawn with the electrical device with electromagnetic solenoid motor. 758 lock electrical force drop. Electrical lock in which the locking member is mechanically forced down to lock position. 759 locking face point. Mechanical lock in which the switch with the derail movable point forward compromising plunger stand with the plunger which is engaged with the lock rod with the attached with the switch point with the lock and operated with the unit. 760 locking approach. Electrical locking effective while the train is approaching while the specified distance for the speed displaying with the aspect of proceed in which the prevents with the after expiration of the predetermined time interval after the signal has been caused to display more restrictive aspects of movement of any of the interlocked electrically locked switches the movable point of frog derail and the route governed by the signal which prevents an aspect of proceed with being displayed for any of the conflicting route. 236-761, locking electric. The combination of one or more of the electrical locks controlling circuit by the means of the lever of the interlocking machine with the switches other than operated with the interconnecting signal interlocking are secured but against the operation under certain conditions. Locking indication. Electrical locking prevents the manipulation of the lever that would result in the unsafe condition of the train movement if the signal or switch or other operative unit fails to make the movement the corresponding to that of the controlling lever which directly prevents operating of the signal and switch of the other operative unit, and in the case of another unit that would operate the first fails to make the required movement. Alright, locking latch operated with mechanical locking of the interlocking machine which is actuated by the machine lever lock. 236-764, locking lever operated with mechanical locking of the interlocking machine which is actuated by means of the lever. Locking mechanical. Arrangement of the locking of the machine of the dog tap at the crossing locking with other operative means for the interlocking with the effective between the leverage of an interlocking machine so that they are connected with the movement of the must be received other than predetermined order. Locking of the movable bridge, the rail locks of the bridge lock has bolt lock, circuit controller of the electrical lock for the provide with the interlock of the protection of the movable bridge. Locking route. Electrical routing effective when the train passes the signal displaying as the aspect of the receiver that prevents the movement of any aspect movable to the point of fog to derail the van for the train for the routing and enter and may be arranged so that the train clears of the track section with the route locking effective of the section release. Locking time. Method of locking either mechanical or electrical without the signal that has been called to display the aspect that proceed with the prevent for the after the expiration of the predetermined time interval that is such the time that has been called to display with the restricted aspect of the operation interlock with the electrical lock switches movable point fog derail with the route with the governed with the signal in which the prevents aspect for the provide with being displayed from any conflicting route. 236.769 locking traffic. Electrical locking with the prevents of the manipulation of the levers over the device for the changing direction of the traffic section traffic while the section is occupied while the signal displays aspect moving to proceed as this section. 236.770 locomotive. The self-propelled unit with the equipment which can be used for the train surface. Machine control. Assemblage of the manually operated devices control of the functions. Traffic control system may include the traffic diagram and the indication light. The machine interlocking. The assemblage of the manually operative leverage of the other devices for the control of the signal switches and other units. 270-73. Movements of conflicting. 773. Movements of conflicting. Movements over the conflicting route. 774. Movement of the face. Movement of the train over the points of which with the facing of the direction opposite in which the train is moving. Movements of the switch and lock. Device for the complete operation for the perform of the three functions of the unlocking, operating, and locking of the switch and movable point of the fog and derail. 776. Movable train trailing. Movement of the train over the points of the switch of the facing of the direction of the train is moving. 777. Operating control. Employee assigned to operate with the control machine with the traffic control system. Peace driving. The crank secured with the lock shifting shaft that means for the horizontal movement and part of the longitudinal locking bar. 779. Plate at the top. Metal plate secured with the lock in the bracket to prevent the cross locking of the plate being forced out of the bracket. 779. 80. Plunger face point locking. The part of the face point of the locker secured with the lock rod and the plunger standing of the switch is locked. 781. More reserve. 782. Point of control location where the signals and other functions of the traffic control system are controlled by the controlling magnet machine. 783 point of stop indication applied with the automatic train stop with the train control system without the roadway signals point where the signal display for the aspect requirement that stops would be located. Position 784 position de-energized. The position assumed with the moving of the member of the electromagnetic device. The device is deprived of the operating current. 785 position false restricted. The position of the sophomore arm for the more restrictive than it should be. Principal closed circuit. The principal circuit designed where the normal energized electrical circuit was being interpreted if the de-energized will cause the control function to assume the most restrictive conditions. 236.787 protection cross arrangement to prevent the improper operation of the signal switch and movable point frog with the derail with the result of the cross electrical circuit. 787A railroad means any form of the non-highway ground transportation that runs with the rules electronic guidelines any to provide with the transportation including commuter other short haul railroad passenger with the metro metropolitan suburban area the commuter railroad services that operate with the Consolidated Rail Corporation the January 1st 1979 high-speed ground transportation system connection metropolitan and without regard with those of the system of the technology not absolutely associated with the traditional railroads but does not include the rapid transit operation of the urban area that are not connected with the general railroad system of the system of that train operations. 788 receiver. The device of the locomotive so placed that it is position influenced inductively and actuated with the automatic train stop of the train control of the cab signal roadway element. 789 relay timing. A relay which will not close in front of the contacts open and back contacts or both in which the expiration definite time intervals after the relay has been energized. 790 releasing type. A release device that prevents the operation of the operating unit after the expiration predetermined time interval after the device has been actuated. 791 release value. The electrical value is which the movable member of the electromagnetic device will move the de-energized position. Reservoir equalizing. An air reserve connected with the adding volume of the top portion of the equalizing piston chamber of the automatic brake valve to provide with the uniform surface of the reduction and brake pipe of the rest of the regardless of the tight length of the brake. Length of the train. 793. Rod lock. The rod attached with the front rod of the lug of the switch will move with the point of the derail through the locking plunger of the point may extend with the switching point of the derail in normal reversal position. 794. Rod U for the connection to the sophomore arm of the operating mechanism of the signals. 795. The route. The course of which way is to be traveled. The routes conflicting. Two or more routes opposing, converging, and intersecting over which movements cannot be made simultaneously with the possibility of a collision. 797, routes interlocking. Route interlocking limits. 798, section dead end. Section tracks either within the track circuit between the two tracks, the circuit with the rails for which they are not part of the track circuit. 799, section following. The section of the track between the switch points, the clearance point, and the turnout. Sheet locking. Description and tabular of the locking operation of the interlocking machine. 801, shoe latch, the casting over the means which latch out of the latch block or led to the mechanical interlocking machine. Shunt, a bypass of electrical circuit, sliding an auxiliary track with a meeting with the passenger trains, a signal approach, the roadway signal for the governing, the approach for another signal, and the operative so control with the indication and furnishes the advanced information for the indication for the next signal. Signal blocking, a roadway signal operative with either automatically manual entry to the block. Signal cabin. Signal cab. A signal located with the engineer's compartment of the cab that indicates the condition affecting the movement of the train using conjunction interlocking system in conjunction with or and move the block signal. 806. Signal home. A roadway signal entering the route with blocking to govern the trains entering when they use the route or the blocks. 236, 807. Signal interlocking. The roadway signal with the governing the movement and with the interlocking limits. 236, 808. Signal opposing. The signal roadway signals with the governing of the movement in the opposite direction of the same track. 809. Signal slide mechanical. Mechanically operated signal with the electromagnetic device inserted with the operating connection provided with the means of the controlling of the signal electronically as well as mechanically. Spectacle sophomore arm. The part of the sophomore arm in which holds the rondelles to which the blade is fastened. 811. Speed medium. Speed not exceeding 40 miles per hour. 812. Speed restricted. The speed which will permit stop within one half of the range of the vision but not exceeding 20 miles per hour. Speed slow. Speed not exceeding 20 miles per hour. State most restrictive. The mode of electronic device is equivalent to the track relay with the de-energized position. 814. Station control. The place where the controlling machine traffic control system is located. 815. Stop. Is applied with a mechanical locking device secured with the locking bar with the limit is movement. 816. Superiority train. Precedence is conferred with one of the train other than trains of the train order with the region of the class of the direction of the movement. 817. Switch electro-pneumatic. Switch operated with electro-pneumatic switch and lock movement. The switch and facing point. A switch at the point at which the face traffic approaching in the direction and the force of which the acts the signal. Switch and operated. Non-interlocked switch that can be only operated manually. Switch interlock. The switch in which the interlocking limits of the control switch interlock with the other function of the interlocking. Switch power operated. Switch operated with electrically, hydraulically, pneumatically driven the switch and lockout movement. Switch sectionalization. Switch of the disconnecting the section of the power line with the source of the energy. Switch spring. A switch of the equipped with the spring device the forcing the points to their original position after being trailed through there and hold them under the spring compression. Switch trailing point. A switch that points when the face of the wave of the traffic approaching with this direction of the track is signaled. 824. Signal automatic block signal. A block signal system where the use of each of the block of the governed automatic block signal, cab signal, or both. 236, 825. Signal, a system automatic training control. System also arranged for the operation with automatically resolve of the following. A full service application for the brakes will continue either until the train is brought to a stop under the control of the engineman or its speed reduced to the predetermined rate. When the operating under the speed restriction application for the brakes, if the speed of the train exceeds predetermined rate will continue until the speed is reduced to that speed. 236, 826. Speed system automatic train stop. The system also arranged for the operation of the automatic result with the application for the other brakes until the train has been brought to a stop. System block system. Method of governing the movement of the trains within one or more of the blocks and block signals and cab signal. 236, 828. System of traffic control signal. Block signal system under the traffic movement of the authorized for the block signal indication supersede with the superiority trains of both opposing and the following moves on the same track. Terminal initial, the starting point of the locomotive on the trip. The time and acknowledge is applied with the intermittent automatic train stop system. A predetermined time with which the automatic brake application may be forestalled means with the acknowledged device. Time delay is applied with the automatic train stop with the train control system. The time in which the elapsed with the onboard apparatus device with the more restrictive indication until the brakes start to apply. Track main, the track with other than auxiliary tracks extending through the yards between. Stations upon the train that are operating with the train timetable of the train order for the both of you for the governed block signal. 236 832 train. Locomotive with more than one of the locomotives may be coupled with or without cars. Train and put for the train and movement of which with the direction opposite with the toward other train on the same track. Trip of the movement of the locomotive overall any other portion of automatic train stop of the train control. Cab signal territory between the terminals for the locomotive the movement in the one direction. Trunking the casing with the protective electrical conductors. Union cylindrical projection supporting with the revolving part. The valve electro-pneumatic valve electrically operated with the valve. When operative with will permit passage of air, wire forming part of the shunt circuits. Subpart H, standard of the processor based on signal and controlling systems.